I was paid $5,000 a month to be a fake boyfriend for a rich, older woman. I wanted to escape that secret life, so I worked hard to get a normal job. I got hired at the biggest, most famous company in the city, but on my very first day, the billionaire CEO walked into the meeting room. My heart completely stopped beating. The powerful boss of my new company was my secret sugar mommy. My name is Liam. 1 year ago, my life was a complete and total disaster. I was 25 years old and drowning in a massive ocean of debt. I had tried to start my own small technology company with my best friend from college. We were young, ambitious, and full of big dreams for the future. We borrowed a huge amount of money from the bank to build our business. We bought expensive computers, rented a nice office, and worked day and night. But the business world was too cruel, and our company failed terribly. My best friend panicked, took the remaining cash, and ran away. He left me completely alone to face the angry bank and the unpaid bills. I legally owed the bank over $50,000, and I had no money. I had to leave my beautiful apartment because I could not pay the rent. I moved into a dark room in a very dangerous part of the city. The room had a broken window, and it smelled like old trash. I could only afford to buy cheap bread and peanut butter for dinner. I applied for hundreds of jobs, but no company wanted to hire a failed businessman. Every single morning, the bank started calling my phone. They threatened to take me to court and send me to jail. I felt a cold, sharp panic deep inside my chest every single day. I was completely desperate, constantly scared, and willing to do anything to survive. One dark night, I saw an advertisement on the internet for a secret dating website. It was a website where very rich people paid young people for companionship. They did not want real love, traditional romance, or family drama. They just wanted a handsome young partner to spend time with them. It felt completely wrong, dirty, and shameful. But the fear of becoming homeless on the streets was much worse than my shame. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and created a simple profile. I uploaded 3 clear pictures of my face and wrote a short bio. 2 days later, I received a private message from a woman who called herself Eve. She did not show her face in her profile pictures. Her message was very short, direct, and extremely professional. She offered to pay me $5,000 every single month to be her companion. She also offered to pay off my massive bank debt in one single payment. In exchange, I had to be available whenever she called, and I had to keep our arrangement a complete, absolute secret. I agreed to meet her for the first time at a dark, private hotel bar. I wore my only decent suit, which was old and a little tight. When she walked into the quiet bar, I was completely shocked. She was 45 years old, and she was stunningly beautiful. She wore a sharp, expensive gray business suit and carried a designer bag. Her hair was a dark, perfect bob, and her skin looked flawless. Her eyes were a deep brown color, very intelligent, and incredibly cold. She did not smile at me when she shook my hand. She sat down, ordered a drink, and did not waste time on small talk. She told me she was a very busy corporate executive with a lot of power, but she refused to tell me the name of her company or her industry. She said her private life and her business life must never mix together. She needed a young, quiet companion to help her relax after a stressful week. She needed someone who would follow her orders without asking questions. I agreed to her strict rules, and I signed her private contract. For the next 6 months, my life became very strange but incredibly comfortable. Eve kept her promise and paid off my terrible bank debt the very next morning. She started sending $5,000 to my bank account every month. I bought nice new clothes. I ate good food, and I moved to a safer apartment, 2 or 3 nights a week. A private car would take me to her luxury house. My only job was to be her perfect, quiet escape from her heavy reality. I cooked delicious dinners for her, and I poured her expensive wine. I listened to her complain for hours about her lazy employees. But she was also very controlling and very demanding. She told me exactly what clothes to wear and how to cut my hair. She told me how to speak to her and when to be quiet. She treated me like an expensive pet dog living inside a golden cage. I felt my human dignity slowly disappearing. But I needed the money. So, I swallowed my pride, hid my real feelings, and played my fake role. However, I did not want to be a paid secret companion forever. I wanted to have a real career, earn my own honest money, and be a proud man. During the days when Eve was busy at her work, I spent hours updating my resume. I applied for a junior marketing position at the biggest technology company in the city. The company was called Apex Global, and everyone wanted to work there. I studied hard. I practiced my interview skills, and I passed 3 difficult interviews. The human resources manager called my phone and said I got the job. I was so incredibly proud of myself when I heard the good news. I felt like I was finally taking control of my own independent future. I planned to save my new corporate salary for a few months, and then I would finally quit my secret arrangement with Eve forever. I was so excited and nervous for my very first day at the big office. I bought a new blue suit, polished my black shoes, and arrived early. The office was massive, beautiful, and full of smart, busy people. At 10 o'clock in the morning, all the new employees were told to go to the main boardroom. The manager told us that the CEO of the entire company was coming to welcome us. We all stood around the long wooden table, waiting nervously. Then, the heavy glass doors opened with a soft sound. A group of older managers walked into the room. Following a powerful woman, I looked up, ready to smile politely at my new big boss. My smile instantly froze on my face. The blood drained completely out of my head. The legendary billionaire CEO of Apex Global was Eve. The official name was Evelyn Vance. She was wearing a dark, elegant suit, looking exactly like the cold woman I knew in private. She walked to the front of the room and started giving a powerful speech. I tried to hide my body behind a taller man, praying she would not notice me. But her sharp brown eyes scanned the new employees and suddenly stopped on my face. She paused her speech for one single, terrifying. Her dark eyes widened slightly, and I saw a flash of pure shock cross her face. But she was a professional billionaire who knew how to control her emotions. She quickly hid her surprise, smiled a cold smile, and continued talking. She did not say a single word to me during the meeting. When the boardroom door closed, I ran straight into the bathroom and locked the door. I splashed freezing water on my burning face, trying to calm my shaking hands. My secret sugar mommy was the supreme leader of the company I just joined. She was the ultimate boss of my entire professional career. I wanted to run out of the building, quit the job, and disappear forever. But I desperately needed this job on my resume to rebuild my broken life. I decided to stay quiet, keep my head down, and just do my work perfectly. That night, my personal phone rang while I was making dinner. I looked at the screen, and my heart jumped. It was Evelyn. Her voice on the phone was totally different from the powerful CEO I saw that morning. She sounded amused, dark, cruel, and very dangerous. She told me she was very surprised to see her favorite pet inside her office building. I apologized quickly and told her I had no idea she owned Apex Global. I offered to quit my new marketing job the very next day to protect her secret. But she laughed a cold, chilling laugh that made my skin crawl. She told me that I was absolutely not allowed to quit my job. She said she loved the idea of having me close to her during the long day. She said it made her feel incredibly powerful to know she owned her new employee in secret. That phone conversation was the beginning of my absolute worst nightmare. The clear line between my private life and my professional life was completely destroyed. During the regular workday, Evelyn pretended she did not know my name at all. If we passed each other in the busy hallway, she would walk past, like I was a ghost. I worked very hard at my small desk, trying to learn my new marketing duties. I wanted to prove to my coworkers that I was a smart and capable man, but Evelyn made sure I never forgot who was really in control of my existence. She started playing cruel, secret psychological games with me at the office. Sometimes, while I was sitting in a serious team meeting, my phone would vibrate. I would look down under the table and see a text message from the CEO. The message would tell me to come to her private top-floor office immediately. I would have to lie to my team, make a fake excuse, and leave the important meeting. I would take the private elevator up to her executive floor. Feeling sick with anxiety, I would walk into her massive, quiet office and lock the heavy door behind me. She would make me pour her hot coffee or massage her tired shoulders. Sometimes she would just make me stand there in silence while she worked on her computer. She treated me like a secret servant in the middle of a professional corporate building. I felt incredibly humiliated and small. But I could not say no to her commands. If I made her angry at work, she could fire me and ruin my professional reputation forever. If I made her angry in private, she would stop paying the money I needed for my apartment. I was trapped in a set of golden handcuffs, and I could not find the key. The situation became much worse after my third month at the technology company. My manager called me into his office one morning, looking very confused and annoyed. He told me that the executive board had decided to promote me to a senior marketing role. He said I was getting a huge raise, a private office, and a lot of corporate power. My manager knew, and I knew, that I did not deserve this sudden promotion. I was still a junior employee, and there were many older people who deserved the job more. I knew exactly who was responsible for this crazy, unfair promotion. It was Evelyn. She was giving me a higher position just because I was a good boy in her private life. I did not feel happy, successful, or proud of my new senior title. I felt dirty, fake, and completely worthless as a professional man. My coworkers noticed the strange, unfair promotion immediately. The people who used to eat lunch with me started to whisper secrets behind my back. They looked at me with angry, suspicious, and cold eyes in the cafeteria. They knew I was not experienced enough to get that senior job so fast. They thought I was a cheat, a liar, or a spy for the executive management. I lost all my office friends, and I became completely isolated at my desk. I was making more money than ever before, but I had never felt so poor in my soul. Evelyn absolutely loved my isolation at the company. She loved knowing that she was the only person in the world I had left to turn to. She became even more demanding of my time outside the office walls. She made me come to her luxury house 4 nights a week instead of 2. She stopped treating me like a companion and started treating me like a piece of property. She would yell at me if I was 5 minutes late, or if I bought the wrong bottle of wine. She would remind me constantly that she created my career, and she could destroy it in a second. My whole life became a dark, exhausting performance for one powerful woman. I could not sleep at night, and I hated the tired man I saw in the mirror every morning. The breaking point finally happened during an important corporate business trip. Evelyn decided to bring me with her to a massive technology conference in Chicago. She told my manager that she needed my senior marketing skills for a big presentation, but we both knew the real. For dirty reasons, she brought me along on the trip. She wanted her secret toy available in her hotel room whenever she felt stressed. We stayed at an incredibly expensive 5-star hotel in the center of Chicago. During the day, I had to walk behind her at the busy conference, carrying her heavy bags. She introduced me to other billionaire CEOs as her junior assistant. She spoke to me like I was an idiot in front of very important business leaders. She would snap her fingers at me to get her a glass of water, humiliating me in public. I had to smile, say, "Yes, Ms. Vance," and follow her orders like a good servant. On the second night of the trip, there was a huge, fancy dinner for all the executives. I was forced to attend the dinner and sit at a small table far away from her. I watched her laugh, drink expensive champagne, and act like the queen of the city. After the dinner ended, she sent me a text message ordering me to come to her hotel suite. I walked up to the top floor, my feet feeling as heavy as concrete blocks. I used the key card she gave me and walked into the massive, luxurious room. Evelyn was sitting on the sofa, drinking wine and looking very pleased with herself. She told me to take off my shoes, come over, and rub her tired feet. I stood by the door, looking at this powerful woman who controlled my entire existence. I looked at her expensive clothes, the beautiful hotel room, and the bright city lights outside. Then, I looked down at my own two hands. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from a sudden, massive wave of pure anger. I realized in that exact moment that no amount of money in the world was worth this pain. I was giving away my youth, my pride, my sanity, and my soul for a monthly paycheck. I was not building a real career at Apex Global. I was just playing a role in a twisted game invented by a lonely, cruel billionaire. If I stayed with her, I would never respect myself as a human being again. I would never be a real man. I did not take off my shoes. I did not walk over to the sofa. I stood very tall, looked her directly in her cold brown eyes, and told her, no. Evelyn stopped drinking her wine. She looked at me like I had just spoken a foreign language she did not understand. She asked me what I had just said, her voice dropping to a dangerous, quiet whisper. I took a deep breath, feeling a sudden rush of incredible bravery in my heart. I told her I was completely done playing her twisted, secret game. I told her I was not her dog, her servant, or her secret toy anymore. Her face turned bright red with sudden, violent anger. She stood up from the velvet sofa and started screaming at me at the top of her lungs. She reminded me of the private contract I had signed with her website. She told me she would fire me from the company tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. She promised to ruin my professional reputation so I could never work in the city again. She said I would be poor, homeless, and eating garbage in the street without her money. I listened to her scream, but her angry words did not scare me anymore. The threat of being poor was nothing compared to the reality of being her slave. I reached into the inside pocket of my blue suit jacket. I pulled out a thick, heavy, white envelope. I had been planning this moment secretly for the past 3 months. I had not spent a single dollar of my corporate salary since I started the job. I lived on cheap noodles and saved every penny I earned from my actual marketing work. I threw the thick white envelope onto the glass table in front of her. I told her that the envelope contained exactly $15,000 in cash. It was the money she had paid me for the last 3 months of our dirty arrangement. I told her I did not want her dirty money, her fake promotion, or her toxic company. I looked at her shocked face and told her I quit the job. And I quit her. I turned my back on the screaming billionaire CEO and walked out of the hotel suite. I did not pack my bags, and I did not wait for the morning flight. I walked out of the hotel, went to the bus station, and bought a cheap ticket back home. The bus ride took 12 hours, but it was the best sleep I had experienced in a whole year. When I returned to my city, the consequences of my choice were very fast and very hard. Evelyn kept her cruel promise to me. I received an email the next day stating I was fired from Apex Global for unprofessional behavior. She used her power to make sure I got no severance pay and no good references. I had to move out of my nice apartment because I could not pay the high rent anymore. I moved back into a cheap room in a noisy part of town. I had to start my entire life over from the very bottom again. But as I sat in my small, empty room, drinking cheap coffee from a paper cup, I smiled. I smiled, a real, genuine, happy smile. I was poor again, but my mind was completely clear. I did not have to hide from the world anymore. I did not have to check my phone in fear, waiting for orders from a cruel boss. I did not have to lie to my coworkers or feel like a fake success. I was finally breathing clean, free air. It has been exactly 1 year since I walked out of that expensive hotel room in Chicago. I found a new job working at a very small, honest marketing agency. My salary is much lower, and I do not have a fancy private office. But my new boss respects me. My coworkers like me, and my work is real. Every single dollar I earn is a dollar I worked hard to get with my own brain. Sometimes, I see Evelyn Vance on the cover of big business magazines. The magazines call her a genius, a powerful leader, and a brilliant CEO. But I know the dark, lonely, sad truth hiding behind her expensive suits. She has billions of dollars in the bank, but she has to buy human affection. She is the poorest person I have ever met in my entire life. I learned the hardest lesson a man can ever learn about money and power. You can buy a nice suit. You can buy a promotion. And you can buy a big apartment. But if you sell your dignity to get those things, you will always be a slave. I chose to walk away from the golden cage and the fake corporate crown. I am just Liam again. I am a simple man with a simple job and a quiet, peaceful life. And I would not trade my freedom for all the billions in the world.